This is a basic run through of this simple program which we looked at last time. So, first of all, what we've got at the top is a hash include. This gives C++ some extra functionality. In this case, it's for streaming input and output, which includes these cout and cin statements down here. If we don't include this, we won't be able to use these. Some programs don't do input and output, they do other things like communicate over a network, for example. So it doesn't necessarily need this, and some files will only be part of a larger program, so that won't need this either. So we have to say explicitly that we want to include the IOStream library. Now, this, using namespace standard std, I'm just going to show you what we'd have to do if we didn't have that line. Every time we did a cin or cout and a few other functions as well, like the endl, we would have to put in std : like this. This, using namespace std, prevents us from having to do this, so it makes our coding a little bit easier to read and a little bit easier to write. Now, here we have the main function. So this is the main part of the code, and you can see it begins with int main and 2 rounded brackets. We will learn more about this later. And then you've got an open bracket and a close bracket, just like this. And the whole of the main part of the program must go inside those 2 brackets. If you try and put something underneath, you will get an error. At the beginning of our program, it's good practice to declare our variables. So here, for example, we've declared a variable of type string called forename. So this is the identifier, forename, what it's called, and this is the type of thing it can hold. In this case, it's going to hold a string of letters, like this here is a string. That's the kind of thing it can hold. We've got another string called surname, and then we've got an integer called age. So integer is a whole number. We must declare our variables before we use them. If we try and use them first without declaring them, then there will be problems. It won't compile. It's good practice with your variables to initialize them like this. So you say equals and then you set them to something. This means we always know what they will contain at the beginning of the program. Then we have a series of cout and cin statements. Cout means output to the screen, so it will write this to the screen. So the first thing it will write to the screen is hello, what is your first name? And then onto the end of it, it will put this endl, which is an end of line. So we've got this sequence of output and input along here, and when we run the program, we will be able to see, let's build it first. We run the program and it will say, hello, what is your first name? And I can put in Fred, and then I can put in Flintstone, like that. And you can see it's asking for the inputs and outputs. In the next video, we're going to have a look at this if then else statement, but you must be able to make an output to the screen and then to take an input and store it inside one of your variables which you've declared at the top. We'll tackle this bit next time.